Welcome everyone to another farm tutorial with Galadia. Today we're going to be building a mob farm that requires only simple materials. It is automatic with the exception of these little wizard guys. Those you are going to have to kill with a sword if you get them. So basic concept here, the mobs fall down this glass chute, they sit on a campfire, and with the exception of wizards, they all die, and all of their drops are collected by the hoppers and go into this chest. So what is going on this upper part? I'm just going to break into this. Guys are getting funneled down here. There's these little floors in here, just little tiny passageways where guys spawn, they wander around, and as they wander, they fall off eventually. Some take longer than others, but moral of the story, you get a pretty decent funnel of them coming down. Could probably be a little more efficient, but for only using simple materials, it works out quite lovely. Also, you can build this in many different sizes. If you're doing the super early game, you do not have to build it this big. The one thing that really matters is that your spawning floor is 24 blocks above ground level. As long as you have that, you can resize and reshape this however you feel like. Okay, so to start this farm, we'll go over materials first. It's all pretty simple and easy to get materials, but you are going to need some substantial quantities of a few of them. You're going to need one campfire, and you're going to need at least 2 buckets of water so you can make an infinite water source. And then you're going to need 2 chests and 2 hoppers. You're also going to need, I believe, 17 signs, and then trapdoors and some kind of blocks. You don't have to use glass. It doesn't matter. You can use any type of block you want. I'm going to be using a mix of glass and smooth stone to do this. But these 3 items you are going to need a fair chunk of. Okay, so to start this out, I'm going to put a chest on the ground, and I'm going to put a hopper into that chest. And then if you are building this in creative mode, you don't need, or you can put a hopper on top of this right away. If you're doing it in survival, I would recommend not. We can add that hopper in later. Okay, so I am building this farm in creative mode. I'll try to do it in a way that would be easy to mimic in survival. If you are doing this in survival, I'd recommend having some ladders or some scaffolding, some way to climb up a center chute. Okay, so we're going to want to place glass 1 spot above the ground, and we're just kind of making a ring around this hopper. If you're doing it in survival, be sure to leave yourself an entryway to get in. Then this glass column we're creating here is going to need to come up 13 off of the ground. So I'm at 50, so I'm going to continue this up until I hit 63. Okay, now that we've got this to the height we want, I'm gonna swap and use a solid block. I just made that out of glass so I could see enemies fall. I always kind of enjoy that part. It's kind of fun watching them go splat. So I'm gonna do 1 more row on top of this out of solid blocks. And then off, not counting the center spot, I'm gonna want to come out 9 blocks on these 2 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then on the opposite side, I'm going to want to do the same thing. Okay, so now that we have that in, that's going to be one of the dimensions of our farm. So we're going to want to come up 2 high on this side, and we're gonna just want to... you don't have to do the bottom spot, so I'm just gonna come and fill this in. And this end you can close, you're more than welcome to close off. You can either close it off now or later. It's going to need it at some point in time. Okay, so now that we have that little chamber created, I'm going to make a few more of these. So again, skipping the corner. But I am going to make a 2-wide platform like that. And I'm just going to continue this down all the way. Okay, then we are just going to repeat this 3 more times. Okay, so after we have 4 2-wide platforms in, we're gonna almost do the same thing. The only difference is we are gonna come 3 this time instead of just 2. Then we are going to repeat this exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so now that we have both sides like that, we're gonna start filling in the edge, or the outside of this here. So we're gonna want to come up, I believe, 6 blocks from this point. Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna build a wall around the outside of this entire thing that is that tall. So now that we have that done, we're going to need to get our spawning platform in place. And for that, you can start this on either side, but you're going to want to leave 1 space and then bring a row across like this of solid blocks. And again, if you're doing this in survival, put some ladders or a few blocks to hop up on, not a big deal. But you're going to want to skip 2 and then do another row. Okay, so at this point, if depending on how you want to do this, I'm just going to do it as I go across. We're going to want to put trap doors on each of these blocks like this. And actually, just for ease of building this, I'm going to make a second row here. You can skip this if you want. You don't need to. I personally like having it just for I don't know, I feel like it makes it look a little better. But then we're going to put some more trapdoors on this other row. And again, we are just going to repeat this process. Oops. Okay, so come 2, skip 1 for trapdoors, and then I'm gonna come another 2. So we are gonna be doing 3 rows of 2 like this. And again, more trapdoors. These are going to need to be opened, but for the sake of doing it now, this will give you a solid floor to work on. Okay, then we're going to do something slightly different for this next part. And very, very similar, but instead of going 2, we're going to do a 3 wide path in the middle. And again, we are going to put some trapdoors on it. And then I'm just going to repeat this starting from the other side. Okay, so now that we have a solid floor to work on, I'm going to use some solid blocks here and just create a roof. Okay, I should have definitely added this. You're gonna need some either torches or lanterns, either or. I'm gonna use lanterns, frankly, just because I like them more, but you can use torches. If you're putting the roof on, you don't want your mobs to spawn in here right now, so just light things up temporarily. We'll be taking these out in a minute. Okay, and then you're gonna want to leave one spot so that you can climb up to the roof. And from the roof, you're gonna want to light this up because you don't want enemies to spawn up here. That would be a really bad thing. So I'm gonna put one in the corner, and then diagonally I'm gonna come 5 more in and place another one. You are more than welcome to use torches. It will work just as good with those. And I'm just gonna go around and make kind of a checkerboard pattern on the floor with these in hopes of killing any mob spawns up here. Okay, so with that lit up, I am clear to close off the roof. I'm gonna slowly be getting rid of these lanterns as I go 1 row at a time. So we're gonna want to open these trapdoors, and then so it'll be trapdoor, block, and then we're gonna make a wall. And then repeat that. The only exception to this pattern is going to be in the middle of the room. Okay, so changing things up slightly on this middle platform, we're gonna do our wall just right in the center. And then, since I'm continuing from the middle out, I'm just doing it reversed, so the first row is going to be the wall. Yeah, you just want the platform and the trapdoor to be connected. Not sure if that matters, but it seems to be working out good for me, so I'd recommend going with that. Okay, so the one thing I should add, you can build this farm in a lot of different sizes if you don't want to use as many materials and get a lower drop percentage. This was about the biggest I would recommend building this, but the thing that really matters is this floor I'm standing on right now needs to be 24 blocks above the ground. So whatever your ground level is, add 24 to it, and that is where this floor needs to be. The bottom chamber, the height on that is really irrelevant. It'll just impact how much fall damage your mobs are taking. Okay, so I'm gonna put a few lanterns down here just to temporarily light this up. Personally, I would probably do this in the dark, but for the sake of everyone watching this, I'm not going to put everyone through that. Okay, so now we need to start our water funneling system, which is going to be down here. So to start that out, I'm going to want to place some signs over this middle row. So just keep attaching signs together, and I'm just going to make a line all the way across out of these. Okay, now that that is done, about all that's left up here is to add some water. So if you want to make, it's a little tricky to make an infinite water source up here. So if you are gonna make, I would, my personal well, I guess yeah, feel free to create an infinite water source up here, just like that, and then put a couple buckets there, and that'll give you an infinite water source in the middle, and then you can just drag that down. And what we're gonna want to do is put a bucket of water in each of these spots. And then when you get to this point, just get rid of your infinite water source, and that should work. But I wouldn't recommend having your lanterns still in place, because that apparently they don't get washed away like torches would. Oh, and that messed everything up. Never mind, do not light this with lanterns. Okay, so the water comes down, it hits those signs nicely and stops. And then we are just going to repeat that exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so we should have two nice little flows of water down here, signs in between. So mobs are going to get pushed down, they're going to come in here, and then we're also going to want to put one bucket in this side and one bucket over here. So these should flow right to the middle, stop there, and funnel your enemies down into the kill chamber. So this is the point where if you were in survival and had created a ladder walkway up, I would destroy your ladders because you're not going to need them anymore. Okay, I did not like that it was nighttime, so I just turned it to daytime real quick. So we're going to want to put one more hopper on top of this hopper. Just like that. And then we're going to put a campfire on top of that hopper. And then another piece of glass to fill that in. And our mobs should start falling down. So this might not be the fastest mob farm ever, but it is very effective. If you just stay down here, it'll be active, and yeah, you'll just keep getting a constant batch of guys falling in. All drops are going to end up in this chest, so nice and easy to collect. Feel free to bring it down another couple levels in case you want to stock it up. Okay, so once you have this farm built, you're going to notice it casts quite a decent shadow, so on the ground around here, I'm just going to put some torches down. Feel free to light this up however you feel like. Okay, so now that this is all lit up, we at least have a safe spot to stand during the daytime. The more you light up around this, be sure to light up your caves beneath it, or build it really high up in the air, and you will get fantastic drop rates. Yeah, guys, just keep on falling down. Okay, so I'm just going to empty out the chest real quick of anything that's fallen, and I'm going to AFK for 5 minutes just to show people what this farm will produce in that amount of time. So, got a timer all ready to go here. There's 5 minutes. Gonna clear my chest and hit start. So I will be back 5 minutes. Well, I'm just gonna fast forward this chunk, but I'm gonna let this sit for 5 minutes and we'll see what's in the chest. Okay, and that is 5 minutes. Let's see what happened. It looks like I've got a wizard in here that did not die. So in 5 minutes, this is what I've gotten for drops. I kept it at daytime to simulate that you've got the area lit up properly. But it looks like it's not killing wizards. So if you want, you can just take out one of these little bottom blocks. It won't change the hopper catching things, and you can hit those guys with a sword. Be sure not to get too close and let a creeper blow things up if you're doing that, but it should be a safe way to get the occasional wizard that falls in. Well, I hope everyone found this useful. If you did, definitely hit those like and subscribe buttons, and have some fun in Minecraft, and I will see everyone next time.